Hey, thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be back in game week. I'll get started with our players of the week internally from the game against Nebraska. Our offensive players of the week was the offensive line collectively as a whole, and Ryan Nowinski. All six of those guys played outstanding football. Defensively, we had two guys play really well up front, out of Tamu Adebawore and Sean McLaughlin. Special teams wise, Luke Akers and Andrew Clare. And then our big playmakers were Evan Hall and Donnie Navarro offensively. Grayson Metz on defense with that big fumble caused, kind of shifted some momentum in that game. And then our practice players of the week, Evan Smith, Jack Lausch, and Robert Fitzgerald. Those three guys collectively really proud of the effort that they're given. Excited to get to the home opener here in Ryan Field and get kind of back into a game week groove, to play 0 week and then have a week off. This feels much more like an opener than maybe a week 2 game for us. And that's the way we'll operate this week. But it'll be great to get back into Ryan Field. Really impressed watching the Blue Devils, not only a little bit on Friday, but more when I watched them, Saturday, and then we jumped into our game prep based on the opener. But great respect for Mike Elko, a guy that I know well, and just an outstanding football coach, a terrific family man, and is going to do a great job at Duke. He's the guy that we've clinicked with, a guy that I've known for a number of years. And I think he's put together an outstanding staff, with, Kevin Johns, who obviously worked here with us and did a terrific job and did an outstanding job in the opener with his offense. Rob Smith, the DC, has got many miles in the Big Ten and gone against him. And, he does a great job with their defense. And then Pat Doherty, who runs their special teams, was here on our staff along, obviously, with Adam Cushing. So they'll have a lot more familiarity with us than maybe we will with them getting their second game. But really impressed with the way they played in all 3 phases. Played a very clean game for an opener with a new staff, and was really impressed by the way that they played. So we'll need to improve in a lot of areas. Thought we found a way to win in 0 week, but didn't really play the way that we want to play collectively. So just a lot of work went into the end of last week in the bye, and same thing will go into this week. And also want to put a special shout out to our 14 guys that are getting their opportunities here in the NFL here this week. I want to wish those guys the best of luck, and really proud of them as they get going here this year in the NFL. So with that, I'll answer any and all questions you may have. Thanks.
First question, Ryan Che.
Good afternoon, Fitz. Thanks for the time this Labor Day. Ryan Che, WNR Sports. You just kind of mentioned it earlier, but I was kind of curious. What is it like? Duke has these new faces on their coaching staff, but as you mentioned, they're not new faces to Evanston with Adam and Kevin Johns. Can you talk about the prep that goes into this week in terms of knowing and having that sense of familiarity with those 2 coaches in particular?
Yeah. I think it goes back to what I said, last week, getting ready for Nebraska with a new offensive coordinator and new staff. You just got to, that's your whole off season, right? You spend a lot of time. We did the same thing getting ready for Duke with, not only their offense, but their defense, the kick game, then personnel and new additions that they have and where they're moving guys around, that we were able to get a snapshot on the opener. But, with the way that the game went, we got maybe about 5% of what they're going to really run. So, you got to do a lot of studying, from what they've done in the past. So a lot of challenge on the staff, but, it's nothing new for us. It's something that we're kind of used to around here, especially when you're, we got a veteran staff that's been here for a long time. Yeah. A lot of teams have a lot more familiarity with us than we do than them in the non-conference slate.
John Riker.
Hey, Coach. John Ricker, Daily Northwestern. The offense featured 2 new contributors in the passing game against Nebraska and playmaker Donnie Navarro and Thomas Gordon at tight end. How have you seen them come along during preseason camp, and what impressed you most about their performances in Ireland?
I think both guys played, physical at times, either, blocking and or the catches that they had to make contested, especially Donnie. That early catch was an outstanding job by him. And it was really close to making a spectacular catch on the boundary. It was just maybe about a half a shoelace out. I thought looked like he was in, went out from my vantage point, but I was a little biased on that play. But, and then TG is a guy that's been in our program. You want to talk about someone that's been, through a lot, just through injuries, and then, a guy that had an opportunity present itself, and I thought he played outstanding. He just played probably one of his best games, and we're going to need everybody, but to see those two guys step up, I'm really proud of them.
Thank you.
Lawrence Price.
Hey, Coach, Lawrence Price, Daily Northwestern. We know that both teams, lost a lot from last year, but also gained a lot, like Duke, Mateo Durant, and also Gunnar Holmberg. And then, of course, Northwestern with, just Stephon Robinson on the offensive end, for instance. Can you talk about, with the losses and additions for both teams? And like you said, this is kind of like a week 0 or first opening game of the season. What's going to allow which the winning team was going to make them or set themselves apart?
Yeah, so two parts of your question, buddy. First one, that's college football now. Get used to it, right? That's not going backwards. So, you're going to have departures and new arrivals. Your roster is now year to year. Not, you have you're not going to be able to project anywhere that you got a guy for 4 years. It's just not the way college football is. So, that's just what's to be expected, and you got to adjust accordingly with your roster, and then you got to adjust to the talent that you see, new on every roster that you play, and kind of how they're plugging and playing guys in, and how guys end up being a part of it. I think anytime, again, approaching this week like the opener, you got to execute. You got to make sure that you take care of the football and win the turnover battle. And Duke did an outstanding job of that on Friday night. The way that they took care of the ball, I was really impressed with Riley Leonard. I mean, the way that he had command of that offense. It's not a surprise the way I know Kevin Johns. No, not a surprise with the way that he played, and how well prepared he was. I thought just all across the board, they had multiple running backs, multiple tight ends, multiple wideouts, made plays. Their line was physical. It was really impressive watching their offense. So, when you say all that, you just got to focus on yourself, and we've just got to be 1 week better. And, it's all 3 phases for us.
Louis Vicaire. Louis, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Hey, Fitz, Louis Vicaire, Wildcat Report. You said in your opening that you didn't play the way you wanted to play. What's the number one thing you think you have to fix going into Saturday?
Yeah, well, we didn't start very fast, Louis. I'm glad to see that you figured out how to work the Zoom thing. It's a new technology that came out maybe last week. But we got to start faster, and that's something that's been a point of emphasis. And, especially how fast Duke started on Friday night. It was really impressive, both sides of the ball, how fast they started and jumped on Temple in a hurry. So, that's number one. We got to finish drives. We got to be better on third down. We got to tackle better. We got to be just exponentially better in every unit, the kick game. There's a ton of work to do there. That's just to name a few. That's plenty of work. That's what we got going on right away when we got back from Dublin. Gave the guys a day off, but then we got right back to work and worked on the corrections day 1, and then day 2 and 3 was right back to fundamental and execution work in all 3 phases, and that carried over into this morning. So a lot of work to do. Great to get a win in the opener, but just pedal down and just focus on what we can control and what we can improve on. And that's what we're doing right now.
Thanks. I'll work on this new Zoom thing too.
Okay, hit mute now. That's kind of the way things work.
Bradley Locker.
Hey, Coach, Bradley Locker with Inside NU. You talked about the kicking game as an area of emphasis for you guys, and I feel like the unit rebounded from that kicking error in the second half of the game. What did you see from your special teams unit with some new faces, and how are you planning to transition that group maybe in a kicking game, especially maybe with Jack Olson possibly seeing some time this week for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, we'll put the guys out there that, number one, are executing in practice, and second of all, that are healthy, right? I mean, those two things pretty much go hand in hand. And then the third component to the kick game is obviously how you execute in the arena. And that's, all aspects. So we just had a lot of first time guys out there, especially in the big 4, when you look at our 2 coverage units and our 2 return units, there were some things that we did not execute. I think at some point it kind of started to slow down for some of the guys, but there's something you can't emulate in training camp or spring ball is the speed of the game. And you try to, but it doesn't manifest itself the way it really does in a game. And that's the same thing for this one. I mean, Duke's got great team speed, and they've recruited well over, not only Coach Elko's first class, but also prior to that from a speed standpoint. So we're going to have our hands full with the kick game, and Coach Jordy does a really good job. I mean, they're very aggressive with what they do and how they do things, and they're very fundamentally sound. So we're going to have our hands full in the third phase. There's no doubt about that. We got to be a lot better than we were in the opener.
John Vogt.
Yeah, hey Coach, John Volk with NU Sports. Obviously, the Wildcat fans really turned out in Dublin, but can you just talk a little more about the excitement getting back in front of home crowd here at Ryan Field?
Yeah, it was awesome. The great support we had in Dublin was phenomenal. I was really thankful for everybody. I think I mentioned it after the game, but that was a bowl game like atmosphere in Aviva. I thought that was a great first test for our team. When you got as many young guys in the kick game as we have, and then newcomers, seeing how guys handle things in game, and you don't ever want to be down, and then to be down 11 points twice. I don't think that there was a hesitation by anybody in the purple that day. So it was a big part because of our fans. You could feel them, you could hear them. It was an awesome atmosphere, and I hope they all made their flights back, and we kick off at 11 o'clock Central. So look forward to seeing everybody, and especially our students that are in town, to have some fun. And, especially the way our season's front loaded with a bunch of home games, the way they had to go with playing in Dublin. So the more the merrier. Calling for a beautiful day here in Ryan Field on Saturday. So come on out at 11 and have some fun watching college football. Who knows? Maybe the point of sales will go out and there'll be free beer. You never know.
Alex Cervantes.
Hey, Coach. Alex Cervantes, Daily Northwestern. Jeremiah Lewis was a Blue Devil in 2021 and had an interception in the game last year. But how do you think he fared in his first game as a Cat? And have you seen any extra motivation from him now that he's going to be playing some of his old teammates on Saturday?
Hey, I'll answer the second part first. I think Jay Lou's got great respect for, his alma mater. He had a great career down there, and he's got great respect for his teammates. Those are the conversations I've had personally with him. And, just like I said earlier, the name of the game is, change in college football. And, this was just the right time for him to be here and the right fit. I thought he played really well. There's, again, plays that he'd like to have back, but for his first Big Ten game, I thought he played really, really well, and learned a ton, and just really glad that he's here. And we've got an opportunity to have him here for multiple years. So that's exciting, to say the least.
Dave Bennett.
Hey, Fitz, good morning or good afternoon. Your left tackle obviously gets a lot of attention and a lot of the preseason plaudits, but how would you assess the rest of your offensive line, tackle to tackle, and the growth you've seen there?
Well, that was the first time that Kurt and I have been together that we've had the entire offensive line grade out fundamentally and technically and execution wise over 90%. So that's why they were named the players of the week for our offense, against, I think, a front that's physical, front seven, at Nebraska. And so I thought, number one, the way that we were able to execute for the most part was something that I think we need to continue to build upon. The pocket that we were able to create was something that I think Ryan is very appreciative of. That'll be much more challenging with, the packages that Coach Elko and Coach Smith will deploy. They put a lot of pressure on your protection schemes and attack those things in particular. So we'll have our hands full there. But, I think across the board, the group played, maybe as consistent of a game as we've had around here in a long time. So really proud of that group. But what I'm more proud of is the way they came out today with their focus. That group is going to lead our team. They know that. And, the way they came with great focus and ready to go here this morning. So that's something I'm looking forward to them continuing to take ownership and take over the team. It's becoming a more veteran group with Charlie and Conrad and Josh getting more and more reps. We're gonna need that group to continue to improve. But I thought they played well in the opener.
Time for a few more. Lawrence Price.
Coach, during my first question, you talked about, the versatility that Duke's running back room brings. But now that you all have, Cam Porter back, can you talk about, the element that he brings back to the lineup and, to the running back room, and how, excited you all are as a, coaching staff, but also the teammates to have him, back in the lineup?
It's a long road when you come back from an injury that he came back from, and the work ethic and the commitment that he put in was inspiring all off season long. And to see him be back ready for the opener, especially losing a week in the summer with the 0-week game, was absolutely incredible. And we're all thankful and proud of that work ethic that he put in. We feel like we've got a great running back room. Drew and Trey, I think could, I think they could play at a lot of places. And, when you got Evan and Cam, it gives us a chance to keep those guys fresh. It gives us a chance to get, the whole group involved in the kicking game, which again, like I said, going into the opener, we didn't have that opportunity the last few years. And so we're going to need that group. It's a very talented group. It's a very deep room. And I think I said it before the Nebraska game too. I really like our young walk-ons, and those guys give a great look during the week, and they're fighting and scratching and clawing to get on the field in the kick game. So, Coach Ianni's got that room in a great place.
Last question, Bradley Locker.
Coach Bradley Locker with Inside NU. Can you talk about just what a week 0 means over a Big Ten West opponent, what that win means for your team going forward, the confidence you guys are establishing as you're looking to get off to this hot start this season?
Well, Power 5 football, half of us are undefeated and half of us are not after that first week, right? I mean, so, half of us are walking in coaching with a positive taste in our mouth and feeling good. And, the other half are walking in with a terrible table. We're all got to get better. I mean, just watching football all the way through last night, it's really hard to win, and more games early in the season are lost in comparison to being won. And we've got to just continue to get better and improve. But I think anytime you win a hard-fought game, a 4-quarter game against a very talented Nebraska team, I know they've got, some new faces and they're starting to gel a little bit. They looked really good in the second half on Saturday. That's always great. It's always great to get ahead. And, you look at the Big Ten West right now, and a handful of us have, I think maybe more than any league, we've played more probably league games than anybody. So to be on the positive side, no matter if it's winning by 3 or winning by 33, it doesn't matter. You get a conference win, you get a divisional win. Those are always important. But now it's important that we get better and we improve and turn our focus to where it needs to be. And that's have a great Tuesday practice, getting ready for a team that I think played outstanding. And, Duke played great against Temple and, really didn't have to play 4 quarters. They put that thing away pretty early, and it was impressive to watch. So appreciate everybody. Forward to seeing you here this week, and happy Labor Day. And again, thanks for covering our team. Appreciate everybody. Go Cats.